advantage, I guess.
No, not really. If you don't put your fingers out, then I can't hit them.
They can't get you.
Good evening and welcome to the New Ulm League of Women Voters Candidate Forum for the Mayor of New Ulm. My name is Harriet Mason. I'm a member of the St. Peter League of Women Voters, and I am moderating the New Ulm Mayor Forum that is designed to educate voters in preparation for the primary election. The primary election will be held on August 9. The two candidates receiving the most votes in the primary will appear on the ballot for the general election in November. The League of Women Voters is a local, state, national, nonpartisan volunteer group. We encourage citizens to be informed and to actively participate in the government through education and advocacy. This event tonight is designed to educate the voters about the relevant views of these candidates. The candidates tonight will answer questions from the audience and the League of Women Voters. All questions must be nonpartisan, unbiased, and impartial according to the format established by the League of Women Voters of Minnesota. Our purpose is to provide an opportunity to hear the candidates discuss the issues important to the public in this election. We are broadcasting live tonight on New Ulm Community Access Television and KNUJ Radio. We have several questions that were submitted by members of the public via the email address lwvnewulm@lwvmn.org. We will continue to accept questions during the forum from audience members that are here in the New Ulm City Hall by email and by phone. Once again, the email is lwvnewulm@lwvminnesota.org. The phone numbers are 507-276-6140 and 507-276-4711. The ushers have note cards and will distribute those to the audience members. Please write your question on a note card and pass it to the ushers. Once again, the email address is lwvnewulm@lwvmn.org. Phone number is 507-276-6140 or 507-276-4711. Those of you that are watching on TV or YouTube, those things are listed, those addresses and phone numbers are on the viewing television screen. We have given each candidate 2 questions in advance that were drafted by the New Ulm League of Women Voters. All questions will come from the public. We do screen all questions submitted to select the questions that best represent the interest of the public. We may rephrase, combine, or eliminate questions that avoid duplication. Questions will not be asked if they were of personal nature and they're not at all relevant to the office that these candidates are seeking. And that we will not ask questions that are a statement rather than solicit information. We usually receive more questions than we have time to ask. If you have submitted a question that was not asked, and if you want more information about the topic, please contact the candidates directly after the forum. The procedure this evening is to begin by asking each candidate to introduce themselves with a short statement. Each candidate will have 1.5 minutes. Upon completion of the introductions, each candidate will be given 1.5 minutes to respond to questions that I will read. The order of the response is random and will alternate, and I will give the order before each question, and then if you forget the order, I have it all written down. I'll repeat it. Candidates will also have 1 minute for closing remarks at the end of the forum. An official timekeeper will signal the candidates as their time expires. We look forward to a respectful learning experience. The candidates are expected to honor the time. And once again, I'll just repeat that the email address is lwvnewulm@lwvmn, and the phone number is 507-276-6140, and also 507-276-4711. Now, let's begin with opening statements. And as you notice, these candidates are sitting alphabetically. And so we will begin the opening remarks that they're going to introduce themselves with Kathleen Backer, Jeff Keeker, Mark Rutz, and Ron Wendinger. In other words, we'll start there and go this way. The next question will be more mixed up. So would you begin, please?
Thank you. As she said, I'm Kathleen Backer, and it would be a privilege and an honor to serve you as your mayor. I was born and raised in New Ulm and have been afforded many opportunities in my personal and professional career, which I believe have made me, will make me a good mayor. I have experience working with the city, with the county, and the state of Minnesota. My community leadership roles include working with the Brown County Agricultural Society. I was elected to the school board locally for 2 terms. I served the First United Methodist Church as a treasurer, a youth leader, and a trustee. I've been a board member for the Oak Hills Living Center, for the New Ulm Turnverein, for the Junior Pioneers, and for the New Ulm Medical Center Foundation. In my professional career as a leader of an organization, I have served as the executive director of the Brown County Historical Society, Heritage Fest, the Minnesota Agricultural Interpretive Center in Waseca, Midway Village and Museum Center in Rockford, Illinois, and I have served the city of New Ulm in various capacities. I've served on the Herman Monument Interpretive Committee, the steering committee for the 150th anniversary. I've worked with the city on the Renew Committee when we recommended the projects for funding, and presently sit on the Garland Committee. Elect me, I will energize, engage, and motivate the community of New Ulm. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jeff Keeker. I work full-time at AMPI. I work straight days there. I also own a few businesses. I own 507 Party Bus, which I hope to give everybody happy, safe travels instead of drinking and driving and getting behind the wheel. We also own a moving company called Southern Minnesota Moving Company. And I do mow a few lawns and do snow removal during the winter. That business is called Too Hot to Mow, Too Cold to Snow Blow. We are looking forward to many other adventures. Like I said, I'm very hardworking, but I feel like everybody should work as a whole. And if you have anything that I could help with us, if I'm elected mayor, I would love to listen and have us have a conversation and see where it goes from there. If you have topics that you feel are very important that we need to discuss in the community, I feel like we should have a meeting on it and go from there. I look forward to being your mayor, and you guys have a good night.
Do we have to push a button to be heard, or?
No, I didn't. I didn't touch it, no.
My name is Mark Rutz. I'm a relatively new resident of New Ulm. I've been here about 2.5 years. My background is BS, MS in chemical engineering with an emphasis on transport phenomena. I have an MBA from the University of Chicago with concentrations in finance and statistics, which was left out of the journal blurb about me. I am a new business development professional. Normally, I have worked behind scenes. I'm not really someone that you would ever be aware of, but we have maximum impact on our professional work. I'm an alumnus of Beta Sigma Psi, and I think the values I learned in college, emphasizing spiritual, scholastic, and social values, have carried through my life. I'm no longer a young Christian gentleman. I'm aged, and I will say over the years I have organized and coordinated quite a few different organizations. And I think I have a natural capability of doing that. A mayor is the chief executive, and a good manager will have. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Ron Wendinger. I have been living in the city of New Ulm for 21 years, but I have always had a New Ulm address as I was farming about 10 miles northwest of here. I am a 1963 graduate of New Ulm Cathedral, and my wife Connie of 56 years in the audience this evening, and we had 5 children, and we have 14 grandchildren. 2 of those children are here this evening. I've been active in the New Ulm American Legion. I've always been one to be active for our veterans. I recently served 3 years as the 2nd Vice Commander, and I am a member of the Comrades of Valor. We do the honor guard honors at the cemetery or wherever for our veterans that are deceased. During the COVID, it was my responsibility to organize things to keep our club viable, the Legion Club, and so that's how we were able to exist with drive-up meals and getting people organized to do this things because we had to be shut down. And I was also a member, 40-year member of the Concord Singers. My friend back there is with me also, and 5 trips to Europe. I have a woodworking hobby, and I speak and understand German fairly well. Other than that, that's me. Thank you.
Now we will begin with the first question, and I'm asking the audience to hold their applause until all the whole end of the thing. That'll speed us up a bit. Okay, now we are going to speak, the order of those that are going to speak will be Ronald Wendinger, Kathleen Backer, Jeff Keeker, and Mark Rutz. Now, the question, the first one is, and these were provided to the candidates ahead of time. Do you have any personal weaknesses or challenges which affect your ability to be mayor? If so, what do you do to counteract these weaknesses or meet these challenges? Mr. Wendinger?
I guess one of the things I have to learn to do is probably be more patient, and my wife out there could tell me that. I definitely need that. But it's learn to be a good listener, and even if it's someone comes to you with a problem or a concern, even though it may seem ridiculous to me, it's not ridiculous to that person. So be aware that okay, take him seriously, him or her seriously, and convey that concern on to the proper person in the city government, whether it be city council or if it would be a city manager or whoever. And always something that I think all of us should do is look more to the positive side. We all like to go and look at things, oh, that'll never work, and that's ridiculous, but let's look at the positive side. Keeping our head high and trying different things, not being afraid to try new things. And otherwise, I would like to just expound on that, and I need to do that more often.
Kathleen Backer.
When I read this question and I pondered it, a personal weakness or challenge, I really don't feel that I have a personal weakness or a challenge unless smiling too much and having a lot of energy. I know that people will say, where do you get all of that energy? And try to capture that and funnel it. And also walk around with this big smile, and sometimes people say, it can't be all that great. But I was blessed with the smile, and it has served me well and as an advantage. So I really don't feel that there's a personal weakness or challenge that would affect my ability to be the mayor and then how I would manage it, quite honestly. Thank you.
I always take my notebook with me wherever I go, so if anybody has any questions or anything, I always write them down or concerns. So my answer to this question is, I feel everyone has weaknesses, and everyone will be happy to point them out to you, even if you can't see them. And our strong points is as doing our best at everything we can in life. There's only one person that is the best he can be, and that's our God. While the rest of us try and give our best, we all should stick together to succeed in life or as a community. They say Minnesota nice. Well, let's do even one better and be New Ulm nice. Thank you.
Mr. Rutz.
I would say, in response to this question, that ignorance is my greatest weakness. And to overcome that, I need to learn, which means talking with people and listening and reflecting on matters. I think a good manager always looks at attitudes far more than specific details or tasks at hand. And I view the mayoral position as that kind of an oversight primarily. And so I look forward to learning specifics and possibly better courses of action to take in consequence. Thank you.
Thank you. Now on to question number 2. And the rotation says that Mark Rutz will be first, then Ronald Wendinger, Jeff Keeker, and Kathleen Backer will be our 4th person to answer. Here's the question. What do you believe are the most important issues facing New Ulm in the next 5 years? And what is your plan to start working on these issues if you're elected mayor?
Well, first, I would say I don't have a particular agenda, and I think from my impressions of the community of New Ulm, it very much reminds me of my childhood town that I grew up in. And I think we need to continue that environment in our community, as well as be aware of coming impacts. The coronavirus has certainly had a significant impact on our community and relationships in the community. Inflation is going to be another issue. And we have the advantage of being a smaller community where we don't have people commuting an hour one way every day routinely. I'm not aware of any major issues. I do have a number of areas that I think could have improvement. there are things, I'm a corporate technologist type, and there are things that we could do to improve the safety of our community, that illegal drugs be suppressed further than the conventional approaches anyway, and that our youth continue to be reasonably well behaved. I like that. This is a community that seems to have decency as a quality to it, and that is very much worth fostering. Thank you.
Mr. Wendier?
I think one of the things we need, well, several things to lure small businesses to New Ulm. And then with that comes keeping up our infrastructure. And this will make an environment that where our young people want to return to New Ulm to work and raise a family. And rather, we see it so often, they go off to college and they never come back. Well, let's give them a reason to come back. We have a beautiful park system here, and I'll just back up a little bit. If we do get small businesses to come here and work, and people to work here, we need more affordable housing. Try to get investors to come here and do more affordable housing, and not have to travel to another city to live. And like I said, keep up our beautiful park system. I think we have some of the nicest parks of anyone around. And supporting Oak Hills in their expansion project, I think, is imperative. And try to revitalize downtown. Some is being done already and is much more needed. So, and also, I think it's important that we keep our tourism and our sister cities commission keep going, that we have exchanges for them. Keeping a well-trained police force, and with all the violence and things in our country, we need to keep our citizens safe. And, okay.
Jeff Keeker?
Okay, trusty notebook again, folks. I believe we should support each other's beliefs. We might not all agree with each other, but everyone has a right to their opinion. I feel if the people in the community are happy living here, hopefully more families will move here. Also, and hopefully fill the job market, or otherwise more things will be closing. There has been a few businesses that have closed, I've heard lately. And if we don't address this, it's going to be a hardship on our town, because we do need these strong businesses and factories here and people to fill them. People are getting close to retirement, and the younger generation has to step up to the plate. And people are going to have to want to work. It ain't just being the younger people, it's people that want to work. And reap the rewards, that's what will make our community strong. If I am mayor, I will always try and listen, and at times we may have to call meetings so everyone can discuss their feelings on it. At times we may have to get experts, but the main thing is we stick together as a whole. I feel we should get behind our police, firemen, and enlisted military personnel and veterans by having a celebration once a year to show our appreciation. And last but not least, we have to look at ways this community could be a little bit more affordable to live, which would also bring more people in. This has to be done. Maybe the utilities, I'm sorry. Okay.
Kathleen?
The most important issues facing the city of New Ulm are similar in a lot of other cities, if not across the U.S. Housing is an issue, daycare, economic development, and that includes retention of businesses that are presently investing in New Ulm, labor shortage, and public safety. I read an article, Dave Borkert mentioned that mental health issues are 30 to 40% of the calls for 911. So how are we going to address these, and what would I do? First of all, I would get familiar with what has already taken place. As an example, there was a housing study done several years ago. Where are we in implementation of that study, or does it have to be updated? We have staff that we hire to address these issues. We have city commissions that take up these matters. There are task forces, there are subcommittees, and there are groups and organizations. Economic Development, as an example, has the new BRIC, a new name for the Economic Development Corporation. We have the New Ulm Economic Authority, and we have the New Ulm Chamber, all working on economic development. So that already is established. So how can I work with what is already established? I would insinuate myself into these organizations as they would see fit, and that I could somehow further their agendas and help make things happen. I would encourage them to look at state and federal assistance. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to just repeat again that the audience can send questions to LWV New Ulm at lwvmn.org, which means State 507-276-6140 or 507-276-4711. Okay, now we have a question from the audience. And the order that we'd like you to answer is Kathleen Backer, Mark Rutz, Ronald Wendinger, and Jeff Keeker. Now, here's the question. Daycare shortages are a statewide problem. As mayor, how would you help alleviate the crisis in this city?
Well, I have had the opportunity, working in my present position with the Brown County Historical Society, to implement a summer day camp. And while it's not licensed daycare, we promote it as an alternative for those looking for daycare opportunities for their children. Also, I believe that there may be buildings owned by the city, or that the city could work with the owners to see if we can't somehow establish a facility that could be a cooperative daycare, as an example. One of the vacated buildings, recently, I don't know if it's the senior center or what it's referred to as, just north of the Johnson Park. That facility used to be rented by a church. It's no longer doing so. They also provide the meals there for that are delivered. Is that a possibility to explore, where we could hold daycare there and the meals would be there? And also, of course, there's banks of restrooms, and there is recreation right in the park that's on that same site. So I think we have to look creatively at solutions for that problem, and it is nationwide. Thank you.
Mark Rutz.
Markets work. I think government often works best if it provides solid information, reliable information, so that markets can be facilitated to work more efficiently. In that sense, needs can be quantified, but I don't think it's the role of the government to more or less institute daycare and be a provider, whether through surrogacy or directly. So get the information out there, quantify it, and promote sensible responses. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a request from the audience that you speak more directly into the microphones. And Mr. Ronald Wendinger, you're next.
I was thinking of this problem also, and I know, well, like Kathleen said, this is countrywide. It seems to be a problem in every neighborhood, but how we can get more people involved in the daycare. I had an idea one day, another lady proposed this, and I thought that's really a good idea. Could we possibly get our financial institutions in New Ulm, get them together and establish a fund amongst them, pool their resources, establish a fund and help these people get started in the daycare business. I know there's a lot of rules and regulations and expense of, and so forth. If that would be possible, it seems to me that would be an involvement from the entire banking community, and it would help tremendously, and it would be for qualified individuals who are in turn able to pay back the funds as they are get along in their business, and that'd be there for someone else to start up.
Okay, thank you. Now, on to the next question.
You have one
Oh, did I miss somebody?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah, oh, Mr. Keeker.
please, but
Oh,
we haven't
you're
finished.
right. I missed you, and I'm very sorry.
No, that's
So
all right,
would
ma'am.
you like to answer the question?
Well, certainly, I would like to take a stab at it. You guys are right. It's all over the United States. This is going on. And I think this would also be a way to help fill some jobs in community because people have to worry about who's going to take care of their children. I would like to see and maybe ask the college if they can help us with this, if it's possible. And see if they could do it like a credit, because they have people learning to be teachers and take care of the children. It's just an idea, but there's many different ways, and that's how I would like to address it.
Thank you. Okay, now for the next question. We are on a random grid, so Mr. Keeker, you'll be first. Mark Rutz, Ronald Wendinger, and Kathleen Backer. And the question is, what is your opinion of the so-called fixed bus route that will start in New Ulm soon? Is it worth the investment?
I think so very well it should be. I'm not sure I think it would be affordable. I think it would be like Heartland. And I know I've heard that like Heartland, you have to have 24-hour notice. So I think Heartland will still be around from what I believe. And I think this will be very good in the community. Thank you.
Mark Rutz?
Buses can be efficient. I'm ignorant of the costs of what has been proposed and the benefits or the effects. That information certainly is knowable and understandable. So I cannot advocate one way or another. New Ulm is long enough that bus route has some appeal. Otherwise, it's a small enough community that not too many buses would run with any cost effectiveness, in my opinion. Thank you.
Ronald Wendinger?
I think it would be a very good idea, especially during our harsh Minnesota winters. It kind of be nice not having to take your car out or whatever and go against the elements, snow and ice and everything. So I think for our particular needs, this would go a long way in helping people. How efficient it would be, I don't know. I can't answer that, and if there would be enough participation, I don't know. I guess there would have to be studies of it, and I think it probably would be something feasible.
I'm excited about this particular program. I had a mother who used Heartland and a sister that used Heartland. And yes, it's a great service, but as Jeff said, you do have to call ahead to get your reservation. I think the established routes is a great idea, but being a great idea, in my opinion, it'll really be figured out once they implement the program and then they do their assessment to find out what the usage is, if the routes were right, the way they were originally established. So I'm looking forward to it, and I say kudos to New Ulm for making this happen. Thank you.
Thank you. For the next question, Kathleen Backer, you're first, Ronald Wendinger, Mark Rutz, and Jeff Keeker. This question is about downtown development. Mark Marone of Strong Towns made the recommendation during his visit to New Ulm, which I don't, anyway, it says, which of the recommendations do you support and why?
I don't know the particulars about that recommendation, so I would be at a loss to provide any kind of response. Thank you.
How about Ronald?
I guess I wouldn't know
Where
either
is
how to
that?
answer that, because if we could have some of those recommendations, we could maybe comment on it, but
Yep. Well, I'm just reading what's here.
I'm not aware of the recommendation, so I can't speak to that.
Mr. Keeker?
I don't know what the recommendations are either. The only thing that I can say that I've heard is parking in New Ulm, if we could flex on the parking for people that have jobs downtown. So if we could figure out a parking maybe underneath the mall might be a little bit more. That's all I can think of what they were talking about downtown. But like the other fine people here, we don't know what the recommendations are.
Okay, well, we'll move on. Mr. Keeker, you're the first speaker, and then Kathleen Backer, Mark Rutz, and Ronald Wendinger. Now, this question says, do you feel there is a blight problem in downtown New Ulm? If so, what is your solution? Well, it says blight, B-L-I-G-H-T.
I'm sorry, I'm just high school education, so I'm not sure what blight really means. Not to be a comedian here or nothing, but if I knew what the word meant, I could tell you a little bit more.
Can we ask the moderator to define blight? Give us a dictionary term, please.
Am I to
Yeah.
answer next?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you. I believe there is blight. I don't believe that it is being enforced to the level as it's interpreted or written in our charter. I'm aware of some reports of blight that have not been addressed, and I'm not sure where the city is as far, are they taking a look at that charter issue, or that to find out whether or not it should be enforced? Is it too stringent and therefore we're not doing anything about it? I do believe that if you have blight, you start having deterioration of neighborhoods. If I've invested in a property, the worst thing I would want is a property with blight next to me. I think it would take away from my property values. Thank you for the opportunity to respond.
I have been sometime in Minnesota Street, getting to the backs, some of the, well, first of all, some of the fronts could use some improvement. I have several buildings that I have in mind right now, but you get to the backs of these buildings, some of them are not very good. They are what we would call blight. They definitely need some improvements. I've actually seen somewhere it's actually a safety issue. So I think we need to work with the owners and try and get them to respond and to fix up, get rid of the problem, and so on. And I think there's one property downtown now that the city council finally said enough, and we're going to take charge now.
Thank you. Now, the next question, and Mr. Ronald Wendinger. Oh, I miss somebody again?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, there you go.
Whatever.
I am concerned about I'm not sure if I should call it occupancy, but the extent of use of downtown buildings. I would like to see thriving rather than some empty, some major empty. I have seen what I would regard as blight, where things could be corrected without major cost, but if they are left as they are, they will deteriorate, and that is a negative for the entire downtown area publicly. So some things need to be addressed.
Okay. Okay. I think I got you all. Okay, the next question, Ronald Wendinger, Jeff Keeker, Kathleen Backer, and Mark Rutz. And the question is about commissions. What steps would you take in recruiting citizens to serve on each of the city commissions to assure that the skills and talent of individuals nominated to fit the needs of these commissions?
I think that it's probably the most important to try and match the individual to the commission. It's no sense in putting somebody on a commission who knows nothing about whatever it is that's on the commission. I know I talked to Mayor Sweeney, and he said that's one of the things. And for finding the right people, I would be calling on members of the city council, city staff, city manager, and getting names of people who would be willing to, that would be fill those good spots. And also, I've just looking around when I see people, oh, that person might be good on a commission, or that person would be good on a commission, and asking them if they would want to serve and bringing in new people. We need some new blood. Don't always rely on the same ones and everything. Let's get some new blood going in here.
Jeff?
I agree. The right person has to be right for the right job. Each job maybe should have a quiz to see once if the person is well qualified for that spot. That's all I got.
Okay, Kathleen Backer?
I believe the commissions are a very important part of the city government, and I too have had opportunity to visit with Mayor Sweeney. And filling the commissions isn't always an easy job. Where do you find the people? We have a situation, or our society, where fewer people are getting involved in service clubs and organizations, and more, I think that also is reflected in putting people into positions with the city commissions. So how would I go about it? Like Mr. Weniger said, take a look at the city council people, encourage them to come forward with names, visit with the city staff to find out if there's any people that they would recommend, and also go through my contacts and individuals, just solicit involvement. I believe that, and I think the ideal would be if we could get high school students as part of a project community involvement to sit on those commissions and give reports back. I don't know how it would work, but to me, to get the youth, the younger people involved, and I would love to, if I were mayor, to appoint people in their young 20s and 30s, rather than coming back to some of us who have served over and over again. Thank you.
Obviously, for commissions, you want people that are capable and effective. From a managerial point of view, I'm ignorant of the commissions the mayor appoints. That's defined in just a few words in the description of the office. However, generally speaking, you are only 3 people deep away from resolving almost any human relationship. So it'd be a matter of talking with someone and possibly someone else, and then a third party, and you should be able to resolve the matter normally. So it's a matter of some effort, but it can be done.
Okay, next question. And we will begin with Mark Rutz, Jeff Keeker, Ronald Wendinger, and Kathleen Backer. Now, this question reads, How would you consider new and innovative ways to promote New Ulm? What would those be if you were going to think of promoting New Ulm? And again, we'll start with Mark Rutz.
The universe is my oyster. What resources do we have available? Finding new approaches comes quite naturally to me. It's part and parcel of new business development. It again comes down to the question of resources and who can be engaged. Otherwise, I was instructed, I'll say something kind of personal. When I joined the venture planning group in Chicago for a Fortune 20 corporation, I was asked to join. My manager called me into his office and he told me, you can do anything to anyone, anywhere, at any time. And I go, well, that's pretty broad. And he said, it's conditioned on it must be moral, it must be legal, and it must be ethical. And that was the charge I had for forwarding the interests of that Fortune 20 corporation. From there, I figured I have to do useful things, so I focused in that area, but that would be kind of my attitude towards how to approach that issue. Anything goes, pretty much. Thank you.
Jeff Geeker.
Hi. We do have a lot of positive things in this community, and I've heard throughout my years of being here, I've been here my whole life, and we don't have to worry about the crimes that go up in the cities. They have gunshots going off all the time. You don't have to worry about getting hit by reckless cars driving by. We don't have to sit in traffic 2 hours to get back and forth to work every day. We get time to spend with our families. And just look at the positive things in our community. Thank you.
Thinking about that, I came up with an idea here the other day, and it's maybe I'm thinking way out of the box, but I'm currently reading a book right now about a German town, about New Ulm, of how people that coming over here many years were sponsored by either a relative or a friend to come over here and start a new life. And my wife's grandfather was one of them, came through Ellis Island and began a new life, and he sponsored someone else. Now, we are a city of 14,000. Wouldn't it be wonderful, and it would put us really in the limelight, if we could somehow support or sponsor a family from Ukraine? How these people have their homes and businesses destroyed. They're living in poverty now, and they're crowded in places. Poland has accepted how many thousands of people? This maybe would be one thing that we could do to really put New Ulm on the map. And I think it would be an example to other communities. Thank you.
Repeat the question.
Yes. How would you consider new innovative ways to promote New Ulm? What are your ideas to promote New Ulm, basically?
What are my personal ideas? Well, first of all, I would defer to the Convention and Visitors Bureau. They receive significant dollars through the sales tax and spend and have monthly meetings and experts working with them how to promote people to come to the city of New Ulm. We used to call it Heads and Beds, and I did serve on that commission years ago. So knowing what is out there, it's beyond my personal experience, but I would defer to the experts. They have the dollars to invest, and they would be much more aware of what the cutting edge, first of all, technology, and then what is our message? We'd have to identify what our target audience is. Who are we trying to attract to this lovely city, and for what purpose? And then figure out the technology. We all know that people are not reading newspapers and are not listening to the radio like they used to. So what is the next cutting edge technology, as well as other methods to reach that audience? So in summary, I would work in concert with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, because that's already established, and see if we can't move things forward. Thank you.
Miss Ron?
Yes, I did already.
Okay. Did I get everybody?
We are done.
Okay. All right. Now, here's the next question. And the lineup for this is Kathleen Backer, Ronald Wendinger, Jeff Keeker, and Mark Rutz. And here's the question. How would you get young families involved in the community to help us grow?
To get them involved in the community, and what was the rest of that?
How would you get young families involved in the community to help New Ulm grow?
Oh, that would be great. First of all, we have to embrace the young people in the community and find out where they are, where do they congregate, what's important to them. What I've seen over time is that families are a much tighter unit than they used to be. In the good old days, we, the parents, used to go out and get babysitters and leave our children behind. Now you see the young people really out there as a unit, socializing, traveling, and so on. So I would want to convene them, go to the neighborhoods where the young people are, and have town meetings and get their input and empower them to take on some projects that will help grow the community. Thank you.
Well, we have a newly remodeled center down here, a recreation center, and I think that was a great addition to the community. This is primarily, well, for families as a whole. I've seen the fitness center, a swimming pool, so on and so forth. We have to provide these places for the young people to go, keep them off the streets, and keep them occupied, because keep them occupied is not being unoccupied is the devil's workshop, and let's give them something to do. That's about all.
Jeff Keeker?
Okay, well, you want to learn from the young people, the best thing to do is talk to them and see what their ideas are and see what they like in the community and see what we all can improve on. Everybody needs to improve on something. And to make New Ulm great, we have to talk to them and then share that ideas with other young people. And that's what I have for that.
Mark Rutz?
I think my interpretation of the question may be somewhat different from the other folks here. For young families, a safe and healthy community for raising their children is the most positive thing for them. And they will understand and know the difference. In terms of youth, that falls back towards the family. And but my understanding is the question was about young families and how they will graft into as older families. And they need a good, clean environment, a decent environment, and matters will take their course appropriately.
Okay. You're ready to close? Okay. She tells me that was the last question. Okay, so we just thanked the participants tonight. And as a league member, I want to thank you for everyone who helped with this event, including our candidates.
Closing remarks. The candidates.
Oh, yeah. I
Your
ran
closing remarks.
my closing remarks. Okay, you got, I think, 1 minute? 1 minute to give a closing remark, and then I get to close it. Mark Rutz, Jeff Keeker, and Kathleen Backer, and Ronald Wendinger. So, Mark Rutz, you're first.
Thank you for bearing with me. My throat has been burned twice in my life, and I don't have much of the voice that I used to have. So please bear with that speech. I view the office of mayor and offering to serve there as a matter of public service. I'm not a politician, and I view it as a statesman's role and something that a gentleman can carry out. And I'll cap that with Roger Moore had an excellent definition of a gentleman, and that is a man who is never unintentionally rude. Thank you.
Jeff Keeker?
I look forward to, if I get elected, to be serving as mayor. I think communication, like I said, is number one, and I always will feel very strongly about that, because nobody's feeling is dumb, or everybody should feel welcome to have any questions or concerns, and we can address them at that point in time. Thank you very much, and I look forward to always living in this community.
Kathleen Backer?
If elected, and I would love to serve as the mayor of this wonderful city of New Ulm, I would carry out the responsibilities as interpreted in the charter and talking with Terry Sweeney. That includes representing the city in a formal way. In addition, then to finding solutions to the matters that we brought up: the housing, the daycare, economic development, the labor shortage, and mental health issues, and others that will come up over the next 4 years. I would work with the city, with the staff of the city, the commissions, the task force, and other community organizations that are there to serve this community, to move this community forward, to keep us out there as that shining star. Oftentimes I go places and they say, "You live in New Ulm." People have heard about New Ulm, and we want to keep it going. Elect me, and I will energize this community. Thank you.
As mayor, I look at a primary job as being a cheerleader, so to speak, of the city council and all their projects and things that they put forward, and to be a backer of that. And I was, like I said in my opening remarks, I was a member of the Concord Singers. They were known as the ambassadors of goodwill. I would still like to retain that role as an ambassador of goodwill. And I like the people of New Ulm. We went south for a number of years, and we made many friends there, and it was nice. But this is still home. I like the people here, and it's a good place to live.
Thank you. Okay, let's thank them once more. Thank you. Okay, the League of Women Voters wants to thank everybody who helped with this event, the candidates, the volunteers, KNUJ, NUCAT, and the Journal. We want to remind you to vote. This forum was designed to educate you so that you will vote in the primary election. Remember, the election takes place on August 9. Absentee ballot is now on, so please vote for one of these lovely candidates. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much for coming.
Thank you.